On today's podcast, we're going to start off a series of podcasts on the 6 myths of grief. Hi, I'm Frank Wyatt, certified grief recovery method specialist, and I want to talk to you today about the myths of grief, and they are: don't feel bad, replace the loss, grieve alone, grief just takes time, be strong for others, and keep busy. And we're going to hear a little message here, about a minute and a half clip from Russell Friedman, one of the founders of the grief recovery method. I want to start off by saying the idea that we shouldn't feel bad when grieving is a harmful myth that prevents us from healing. This myth often is reinforced in childhood, and it teaches us to suppress our emotions and acknowledging them and processing them. Children are often told not to cry or have a cookie. You'll feel better when that experience sadness or pain. This teaches them to bury their feelings instead of dealing with them. Over time, this leads to the belief that negative emotions are unacceptable and should be hidden when you're a child. One of the things I want to talk about right after this message from Russell Friedman is how our emotions can be affected later on in life and if we don't deal with it. So let's take a brief moment and let's listen to this message from Russell Friedman.
The first major myth that affects little children and that they carry through for the rest of their life is learned usually at preschool age, where a little child has come home, say a girl has come home from preschool and she's got big tears in her eyes. And the mommy or daddy says, "What happened?" And the child tells the truth. She said, "The other little girls hurt my feelings." At which point the parents make a huge mistake and they say, "Don't feel bad. Here, have a cookie. You'll feel better." Which sets up the child to medicate her feelings with food. Now, in last year and each of the last several years, there were 400,000 obesity-related deaths in the United States of America alone. And there's an obvious connection between "don't feel bad, here have a cookie," and using food later for every feeling you have that doesn't feel good. It also sets up the child to believe that her feelings are bad or defective. She's not supposed to have bad or sad feelings, so when her mommy dies or her dog dies or something bad happens, she's in a trap between what is true for her feelings and what she's been taught to believe.
Did you like the story, what Russell was talking about, at the schoolyard? The kid came home and told her parents that the kids were picking on her, basically bullying, and parents told her, "Well, don't feel bad. Let's just get some cookies, then let's get some ice cream." How many times have we've lost something in our life, and you think about grief? A lot of times people associate grief just with losing somebody close to you, like a parent, your husband and your wife. It could be somebody significant, a close friend, a child. And people may say, "Don't feel bad." And then sometimes people will just tell you, just move on, and we don't deal with our emotions. There's over 40 different types of grief. It's from losing somebody significant to you. It could be divorce. It could be broken relationship. It could be a job change. It could be retirement, financial, substance abuse, whatever. Grief is grief, and we've all know the pain of grief, but grief doesn't have to be a life sentence. Remember the story? We're going to go back to it real quick about the child. The parents told her, "Don't feel bad." So instead of telling children or ourselves not to feel bad, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute about telling ourselves not to feel bad, we should encourage them to express their emotions openly and honestly. This allows them to process their grief and develop healthy coping mechanisms. And by embracing our full emotional spectrum, we can navigate life's challenges and experience So we talked about encouraging a child to be open and honest. Are we open and honest with others? Do we express our emotions? If we're not feeling good, we should tell people, hey, I'm not in a good spot. But again, as I said, we're going to be talking about how the grief recovery method will teach you skills and there's action steps that you can find completeness. And I just want to encourage you to tune in the future as we just process what grief is and how the grief recovery method. And the next myth that we're going to explore is replacing the loss. And I just want you to know that I'm here for you, I care about you, and I'm going to do everything in my power to give you some hope through the grief recovery method and let you know that you're not alone and somebody does care.